Everybody's watching her, but she's looking at you.
Should you DHV, display high value, and should you sexualize and use all of these complicated methods of the cold approach? I want to talk about that today in a little bit more depth, and talk about an interaction that I had. There were two girls, me and my client, and I noticed that he went straight into DHVing, lied a few times about some he's displaying high value, but he lied a few times, and then kind of sexualizing off the cold approach, saying that he's dominant, talking about all these other things like Kama Sutra and things like that. I want to talk about that and that interaction and where it went wrong and why it went wrong. But before we kick it off, I'm Dave, and this channel is dedicated to giving you no BS, novel dating advice for the modern man. Top link in the description to get some coaching with me, and my autobiography is in the description as well. So, what happened today was we approached two girls, we're walking along, and my student went straight into a lot of what he had seen other YouTube channels. So he'd been watching this other YouTube channel where they talk about you should really display high value all the time, and you should talk about being dominant in a sexual kind of way, and ask her how open she is to new experience, how open-minded is she. There was a lot of questions along that kind of line where we're walking along, and he was getting to know them, talking about, you know, how they're traveling somewhere, and he goes, oh yeah, I was thinking of traveling there recently, talking about how he's traveled the world, how he's trying to DHV, display high value, as if he's traveled many places, he has a lot of money. He even dropped the oh, this area can be a little bit boring, but if you know the right people, and suggesting that he knows the right people. And at the end of the interaction, we got to a point where the girls needed to turn left and we were going straight. The interaction ended there, and he didn't know where they were going, he didn't know what they were doing, he didn't know if they were working today, whether they were working this week, whether they were free this week. He didn't understand any of anything real about them. The whole interaction was more, it was a very smooth interaction, but it was more like he went over and just told them how awesome he was. At the end of it, they didn't, there was no number closed, there was no contact information exchanged, and it was more of a, it felt like it was more of, I'm awesome, I just want to tell you how awesome I am. And I want to say that this is wrong. This is very, very wrong. I don't necessarily think that you need to display too much high value. You can hint it, you can suggest it, but when you cross the line, you can seem, with a high value girl, that you are being egotistical. You are just telling her that you are better than her, that better than she is, and you got more money, you're more educated, you've traveled the world more, you're just better than her, and it can come across a little bit arrogant. Secondly, sexualizing of the cold approach. I guess it might be okay if you ask how adventurous they are, but I think there's a lot of information there that could be exchanged off the cold approach, just the basic level stuff, that when you watch too many of the pickup marketers online, and they tell you to try all these different things, I think it can get you overcomplicating something that should be a little bit more simple. And if you focus on the basics, which is obviously just introducing yourself, finding out what they're doing right now, feeling out to see if they're even interested in you, show a little bit of empathy, finding out, you see, if she lives nearby, if she works nearby, what days of the week she might be free, obviously whether she's single or not. These real base level basic things, especially in a short interaction where you might be walking together, you know you don't have much time. There's some information and some things that you should be talking about that are more important than others. And I think that the reason why I focus on logistics so heavily is it's one of those basic level beginner things that you should be focusing on. And a lot of guys out there, I have noticed, guys that become students, etc., they think that they're at that intermediate level because they've been doing it for such a long time, and so therefore it's time to get more flamboyant, it's time to be sexualizing and experimenting with new things and doing things that in fact decrease your chances of lining up a date and knowing more about her. What we discovered was these two girls, they were staying at a backpackers. That was the only information we had. And we're currently staying in a beautiful resort. Not this place. This is not the place we're staying in. This is another place. But we're staying in this really nice resort. It's in the previous video. And we discovered when we got to the beach that they were actually walking to the beach. We didn't know that because he didn't ask that question. Where are you going? What are you doing right now? Most base level, basic beginner level thing. And if we had have known that, we would have had the opportunity to offer them, oh, would you like, instead of going to the beach, we've got a resort, a beautiful resort. Would you like to come for a swim with us? Our shout, you know, we'll buy a few drinks and things like that. But we didn't get to that level because the entire interaction was the student telling them how much he's traveled, how rich, how educated, how awesome he is, and we didn't even get to the base level beginner things that you really should be focusing on. And I have noticed that a lot online, that you have a lot of guys that are focusing on things that really don't push the interaction forward and don't really get you that many results. I think that you guys should really be focusing on the basics. Sure, I can complicate it up. I can make it as complicated as you want it to be, strategy-wise. But when it comes to this, I think you really should be just focusing on logistics, and that's the message that I wanted to say today. Try not to get caught up in the marketing from a lot of these guys. Oh, I'm a dominant. Do you like dominant guys? How adventurous are you? You know, off the first date or whatever. All of these things, sure, it shows a little bit of intent, but if you don't know, if you discover that she's into you, she's very into you, she's very attracted to you, but she's going home to her husband, or tomorrow or tonight she's flying out to another country, you haven't really got the base level things down first. And I think focus on them, and then you can build on top of that. So if you get the logistics down as a nice platform and then build off that, then you can go into DHV, then you can go into sexualizing and doing things like that. But if you don't have the basics down, it's going to be a bit more hit and miss, and that's not necessarily something that you should be focusing on. As far as I'm concerned, focus on the basics. That's the message of this video, so that you don't make mistakes like what my client did, because I feel like that interaction should have went so much better, and I feel like it would have went in our favor if he had have just focused on the basics. So if you like this video, click the subscribe button, click the bell icon, and if you top link in the description to get some coaching with me. I have a free Telegram group in the description as well that you can join up to right now, and I pay for your first free initial consultation where you can have a free session, free coaching session with me. And I've got a group there, community, and I'll see you guys in the next video.